Here's a strange way to turn an enemy into a friend. Don't do something nice for them. Ask them to do something nice for you. It sounds backwards. It shouldn't work. And yet, it works almost every time. The favor doesn't make them like you less. It makes them like you more. This is one of the oldest tricks in human psychology and one of the most counterintuitive ever discovered. It was found by one of America's founding fathers, confirmed in a lab 2 centuries later, and it runs quietly through your friendships, your job, and even your worst grudges. It's called the Benjamin Franklin effect, and by the end of this, you'll never look at a favor the same way again. The year is the mid-1700s. Benjamin Franklin, printer, inventor, politician, has a problem. In the Pennsylvania Assembly, there's a rival, a wealthy, powerful man who dislikes Franklin and isn't quiet about it. He stands up and speaks against him in public. Now, most people facing an enemy like that would do one of 2 things: fight back, or try to win him over, with compliments, with gifts, with favors. Franklin did neither. He'd heard that this man kept a very rare and unusual book in his private library, so Franklin wrote him a note. Not an apology, not a gift, a request. He asked politely to borrow the book for a few days. The rival, perhaps flattered that Franklin even knew of it, sent the book over immediately. Franklin kept it about a week, then returned it with a warm note of thanks. And the next time the 2 men met, something had changed. The rival, who had never once spoken to Franklin, now greeted him warmly. From that day on, he was ready to help Franklin at every turn. The 2 became close friends and stayed friends for the rest of their lives. One small favor did what years of conflict never could. Franklin later summed it up with an old maxim: "He that has once done you a kindness will be more ready to do you another than he whom you yourself have obliged." In plain words, the person who does you a favor will want to do you another, more than the person you helped. But that makes no sense. Why would doing you a favor make someone like you? To understand it, you have to understand a quiet war that runs inside every human mind. Your brain has a desperate need to feel consistent, for your actions and your beliefs to line up. When they don't, it creates a kind of mental friction. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance. Now picture it. You do a favor for someone you don't like. Suddenly, your mind is holding a contradiction. I just went out of my way for someone I can't stand? That doesn't add up. That friction is uncomfortable, and the brain hates discomfort. So it does something sneaky. It can't undo the favor. That already happened. So instead, it quietly rewrites the feeling. Maybe I don't dislike them after all. Maybe I actually like them. Yes, that's why I helped. You didn't decide to change your mind. Your mind changed itself to make peace with what you'd already done. It's an elegant theory, but for 200 years, the Franklin effect was just a good story, until someone finally put it to the test. In 1969, 2 psychologists, Jecker and Landy, ran a clever study. They invited students to take part in a contest where they could win real money. After the students had won, the researcher approached one group with an awkward request. He looked embarrassed and admitted he'd paid the prizes out of his own pocket and was now running short. Would they mind giving the money back as a personal favor to him? A second group was also asked to return the money, but by a secretary on behalf of the department, and a third group was never asked at all. Then everyone rated how much they liked the researcher. The result was exactly what Franklin had predicted 2 centuries earlier. The students who did the researcher a personal favor, who handed their winnings back to him directly, liked him the most. Not the least, the most. And here's the detail that seals it. The group asked by the secretary, where the favor went to a faceless department instead of a person, liked him the least. The magic only worked when the favor was personal, when there was a human being on the other end to like. And now the part that should make you a little uneasy, because if doing someone a favor makes you like them more, the reverse is also true. When we harm someone, the mind hits the same friction and solves it the same way. Why did I hurt them? They must have deserved it. They weren't a good person anyway. We don't just hurt people. We talk ourselves into believing they had it coming. In another study, people who were told to insult and criticize a stranger ended up rating that stranger as less likable, as less of a person. They convinced themselves the victim was worth less to justify what they'd done. This is the engine behind some of the darkest patterns in human history. Jailers who come to despise their prisoners. Soldiers trained to hate the enemy. Family feuds that outlive the people who started them. Each cruelty makes the next one easier, because each time the mind quietly lowers its opinion of the target. We don't always harm people because we hate them. Sometimes we hate them because we harmed them. So the Benjamin Franklin effect cuts both ways. Every kindness makes you like the other person a little more. Every cruelty makes you like them a little less, which means your feelings about the people around you aren't only the cause of how you treat them. They're also the result. You can, in a quiet way, choose who you grow close to by choosing who you're good to. Franklin understood this 2.5 centuries ago with nothing but a borrowed book. So the next time you want someone in your corner, you may not need to win them over at all. You might just need to let them do you one small favor. If you like uncovering the hidden rules that quietly shape how we treat each other, stick around. There's more.